And welcome to Friday Night Blitz on a Saturday. We are live from Hillsboro High School, home to the Hillsboro Hawks, for the Class 4 semifinal state championship here. They're going to be taking on the North Crusaders, Ray Halbrook, Mr. Scott Latta, and Mr. Brian Kaplinger. Lutheran North, they're always a team that's to be reckoned with. They always make deep runs. Hillsboro's been a little while since they've been here.
I think Hillsboro's got to control the tempo, and they got to take care of the ball.
But they're an electric team, and the only way that you're really going to be successful if you're Hillsboro is to control the ball. No turnovers, play smart, and you'll have a shot in this game.
It's a blessing to be out here, man. We've battled the last 2 years and fallen a little bit short, so we're excited about the opportunity against a great ball club today.
It's obviously been awesome for our kids, awesome for our community. Really happy that, we were able to get this game at home. Last week we were on the road, but it's been a long time coming for our program, 32 years since we were in this game before, and that was on the road. So it's been, it's been a long week. We practice in the morning, you go home, and you have a lot of downtime without school on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you find yourself watching even more film. So, just proud of our kids, blessed to be here, and, want to come out and play a good football game.
Him up securely. He's going to run through arm tackle.
4th and 8, they're going for it. Touchdown, number 5. Chase Sucharski, and just like that, the Hawks on the board.
And tremendous play right there again. I think going for it on 4th down, very similar to what we saw from Lutheran North, but just a great job of Preston Brown finding one of his favorite targets, and Sucharski points on the board.
Brown under center, in between the tackles, slips into the end zone for a 1-yard touchdown. That is Preston Brown. 13-0 our score with the point after try forthcoming. The 5, Brown under center. Brown wings it. Wide open is his number 82 is tight end. And that is Gavin Height, the senior. Brown under center. Brown to Brown. Brown in for a touchdown. 1-yard touchdown run for Peyton Brown. And the score swells to 27-0. They are on the Hawk side of the field. Hollis rolls out right. He's being pursued. He's going to run it. Fell forward. Did the ball come out there at the end? And it did. A fumble recovered by the Hawks.
The important thing now is to recognize the adjustments. And, at this point, with however they adjust, okay, they're going to do this. Okay, we've got to counter with something else, you're Hillsboro, you're flying high right now. You don't want to look ahead. That's the other thing. Don't look ahead right away.
It's complete reset. I know we say this a lot, but the mentality is let's not look at the scoreboard. Let's just do what we do. We've talked about it all along.
And thought he was going to. Oh, Brown breaks it through the middle, and he's got a foot race. 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Preston Brown with a 58-yard touchdown run.
There's that speed and electric breakthrough. I mean, he said, stop me on 1st down. Let's see if you can stop me again on 2nd down. You're watching on the replay. Just a great burst once he got through that initial line, and then it becomes a foot race, and not many people are going to catch him.
So Blackman takes the direct snap, and he goes into the end zone. 1-yard touchdown for Javon Blackman.
And there's that name. We've been asking for his name to be called all day, and that's the first time we've seen it.
Late to never, but right. Hollis drops back. Good pressure, and is picked off. I believe that's Brown.
It is Brown. And
Brown gets to the sideline. Peyton Brown just stuck up a big paw right there, pulled it in. I think this is that formation that they had Blackman run before. And straight ahead, touchdown, 2-yard run. Brown kneels down, and that should be it. Final 15 seconds roll off. And the Hawks flood the field, jubilant in their victory. 34-12. Hillsboro victorious over Lutheran North. Wow. Good luck next week at Mizzou, kids.
Well, good evening and welcome to Upon Further Review. Ray Halbrook from Live Stream STL Media here. Hope everybody's having a great night here, Wednesday night. And I got a handful of guys behind me here. Everybody wave at me behind me here from the they listened. How about that? From the Hillsboro Hawks, we got a packed house here, guys, and we've got Coach Sucharski along with all the players here, juniors and seniors. We invited them out tonight for the Hawk edition is what we're calling this. So thanks for being with us. We appreciate that, and I've got. On the left, all the way out to the left there, Matt Bates. I've got Coach Sucharski there in the middle. Brian Kaplinger there on the right inside, and then Scott Latta on the outside. Gentlemen, I know we're dealing with a little bit of a sound issue here, but we're going to try to not blow the soundboard up while we're sitting here. But Matt Bates, you're going to get us going and get us started here. And you and I, we do the Upon Further Review show. So Matt, I'm going to just take it over to you, buddy.
Well, I got to say, having all the gentlemen in the house tonight, I mean, it's an honor to be sitting here in front of a team like this that, my only trip I got to make to state was as a broadcaster, never got to make it as a player. And so truly I'm in awe of the gentlemen here in Jefferson County that have been able to make it to what's called a state championship football game. So congratulations to you guys, because I know the hard work and the effort that it takes, and I know that this guy sitting on my left has got a lot to do with it. But as he'll tell you, I only preach the word, and it's you guys that go out on the field and do it. So job well done this year, guys. Got a lot to be proud of. I mean, the team you went up against and you held them on 25 rushes to 94 yards. Quite a feat in and of itself. Being up 28-0 at the half, you score 53 seconds into the third was what I would say the only snafu was just the missed extra point by Marchetti to get the running clock going. But, I mean, all that aside, I look up and down the line with Silhavy, Yeager, Duranja, Phillips, Lastman. The job you guys did on Grudger and Amir Scott, again, as I was just telling Coach before we started rolling here, I said I really haven't changed much height, weight since my days at Herculaneum, where I was a center and a nose guard. And I got to tell you, when those two big boys walked out onto the field, I kind of gulped a little bit, was like, okay, that's a lot of beef on the bun out there. But again, seeing the job that Duranja, Phillips, Lastman, Yeager, and Silhavy did, I think it is a credit to the program, and job well done, Coach.
Yeah, those guys up front, they've done a lot for us. Really, the last 2 years, 4 of those guys returned, and we've played 5, 6, 7 different guys there. We had Bacher went out for a few weeks, and Cole filled in, and Micah came back last week and did a really good job. And those 4 seniors that started last year's 4 juniors, you get the question asked a lot of us too when the season started. You lost a lot of guys. We knew we lost a lot of guys on defense, but the one thing we knew we could lean on was those guys up front early on in games, and we were able to do that. And just proud of what they've been able to do. They had a lot of big shoes last year to fill, and they did a great job last year, and then they continued that on into this year.
Brian, Scott, any comments on the line play, anything like that going in, or just your observation from the booth up there?
Once you get this deep into the season, Coach, what is it like in the conditioning room, looking for, injuries, stamina? This is uncharted territory for a lot of coaches. So how do you keep everyone fresh and going?
Well, to be honest with you, this is a process that started more than 2 years ago, before last year's season. When we went 9-2 and really got physically outplayed against North County, a lot of the guys commented that week. I talked to some of the seniors afterwards, and they just said their legs were dead. They were beat up. We had some, Jackson was nursing a leg injury. Austin had one earlier in the year, and so it was kind of as coaches, hey, what can we do to revamp, what we've been doing from just a health standpoint and taking care of these guys. And so I did a little bit of research, came across something that I thought was worth looking into, and it was a program called Feed the Cats, and it was basically, it was in a nutshell, it's basically everything you learned 20, 30 years ago, throw it out the window and forget about it. And it was more of when do you want your kids to play their best? And everyone will tell you, well, you want them to do that on a Friday night. And, well, if you know, we joke as coaches, but they literally say if you're burning the steak on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you're running these guys in the ground and you're running gassers and you're running, you know, tons and tons of hills and things like that, and they come out and they're fatigued and they're slow because you've done all that stuff to them on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, well, whose fault really is that? You know, you going to blame the kids who are tired, or is it you as coaches that putting them through that? So it's a program that's designed to really get these guys at their optimal performance on Friday nights. You look at them. We work with our strength coach and what she does, and you know, if she's hitting legs that day, well, then you back off that stuff in practice. Like we try not to hit legs in the weight room and then turn around and have the whole line drive the 5-man sled, and so it's taking care of their bodies. It's credit to those guys. They bought into the program. We do speed training in the mornings, and that's usually about 25, 30 minutes at most. So it's not a situation where we're running these guys into the ground. It's more get them up to their top end speed and condition them that way, and then let them play fast on a Friday night. And you look at our games, and 12 of the 13 games we played this year, we've scored on the opening drive, and I credit that to our kids being fresh. We had a lot of that last year where we'd score on our opening drive, and that doesn't happen if our kids aren't bought into the strength program and the speed program.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, talking about, just the offense, defensive line, the one thing that impressed me right out of the gates was, you knew Lutheran North, they wanted the ball. They won the toss. They wanted the ball because I think they came out feeling like they had something that you couldn't stop, that you couldn't go against. And so it was fun to watch, like, the defensive line just really punch them early, because I talked about this a couple times. I think they almost came out and said, we're going to beat you with your style of game. We want to run the ball to show you that we can do that effectively. And I think it was no secret coming in that they had a dynamic offense.
Absolutely.
That was something that I think a lot of us talked about before the game, the week before. But I think credit to the defensive line of coming in and standing up the run, and really, the linebacking core, getting the gaps opened up for them by the front to be able to stop those plays, get a number of losses, and then obviously you get them out on that first series. And like you said, the first time you touch the ball, you just go down an explosive score. I think we were counting it 5 of the first 6 possessions you had. You just went down the field, and that's a lot of credit to the offensive line, just opening up those lanes. And so talk a little bit about that. Like, it's no secret running is the bread and butter for the Hillsboro Hawks. Like, that's what you want to do. You want to establish and then mix in the pass from there. But were you surprised at all by the attack from Lutheran North, or you just knew your guys could handle it?
Well, defensively, schematically, we asked those guys up front to do a lot of stunting, slanting, pinching, flaring out. It's a lot harder than just say, hey, go here, because these guys, we make cue calls when there's times when if they're pinching, they've got to take dive. If they see an option look, if they're going out, they got to make a cue call to let the linebackers know, hey, I now have quarterback. If you have an interior blitz, you have dive. So from a communication standpoint, first and foremost, it starts right there with those guys defensively. And we ask a lot of those D linemen, and it's kind of the unsung heroes, because statistically they're not going to rack up the tons of tackles in this, in a season. But it's a terminology we go back to when Coach Robbins was the head coach there. Is you might not make the tackle, but you made the play. And that's what we really try to sell those guys on defensively is you have to do your job to free up those other guys. And we do. It's no secret we bring pressure with what we do. And it depends on a game and who's being, what we see defensively. If we think it's, hey, we can get more Sam Will pressure, we'll bring that. And those guys might have a game where they have 5, 6, 7, 8 tackles. You have Aiden sitting in front of me over here. Aiden really does a great job running things down from the backside. So with his speed, we know if we can get him in a A or B gap, even on a play that goes away from him, he's got a good chance to run that down. And so it takes those D linemen to slant and then create that gap for those guys to run through. And just a credit goes off to those guys. And we've played a lot because we lost our entire D-line, our starters last year. Right. We really roll a lot of guys. I think if you probably went back, there was 7, 8, 9 guys that played a significant amount of time on Saturday at that D-line spot, just coming in and spelling each other. And we just ask those guys, hey, play as hard as you can, and when you need a break, get a break. There's nothing wrong with tapping yourself out. And our guys have unselfishly done that all year, and I think it's helped us get better and better each week.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Aiden Rowland, just on the offensive side, the stats aren't going to jump out of the score sheet at you, but I got to tell you right now, the 6 carries that he had for the 14 yards, that was some tough sledding at the office. Because I think every time he touched the ball, it was just he had 4 guys on him religiously, and across that D front line, I mean, you couldn't find anybody less than 250, 270 pounds, and so tip the cap to him as well for stepping in. And I know when PB needs a break, that's a good plug to put into the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. Aiden's a quick kid. He's a strong kid. One of our bigger backs besides Peyton. So those guys will kind of, when Peyton needs a break, Aiden will jump in there for him. And then there are certain packages that we'll have where we'll get a little bit more heavy back there, just more from a blocking standpoint. And those guys are asked to do a lot, whether it's carry the ball, block offensively, and, formationally. Those guys get moved around quite a bit. So it's a lot on their plate. Credit to those guys for learning that stuff. And especially hard, too. Some of our guys, I'll talk to them in some of our spots where, then they flip around. They got to play defense, and they have to know everything on offense, and then turn around and know every blitz package we have and coverage and things like that. So it's a lot of information, but I think the way we go about it in June, getting it all installed and taught to them, allows them to pick it up and play much faster once we get into August.
Because I know that right there at that Class 4 is kind of like that gray area between that bigger boy football where you have only usually one set of players going on offense, one set of players going on defense, and I'm sure where the Hillsborough program's at that, you wouldn't put guys out there in a spot that you thought would be kind of questionable whether you're dipping into their gas tank going both ways or not.
No, I mean you ultimately you've got to find ways to get stops, and sometimes you have players that you need on both sides of the ball that you want to have on both sides of the ball. So and we'll spell them as we see fit and as best we can within the game. And some years it might be more on offense where we spell them, and some years it might be more on defense. It's just the makeup of our team, and if we got and guys being healthy and from week to week, and that's a big thing too in terms of getting carries, and also knowing where we might need to keep a guy fresher on one side of the ball. If we're going to play a real high explosive team, we're going to need to eat clock and make sure we keep those guys on the defense to try to slow those teams down.
Talk about guys that have deep gas tanks, and we talk about them week after week. We might as well just get right to it. It's the PB sandwich, Preston and Peyton. Talk about a good problem to have with 2 athletes like that. Both score 2 rushing touchdowns. Both, can you tell me how they both had the same number of rushing yards at 146 apiece? I mean, unless you're blood related, I don't know how you work that out on paper. But I mean, they accounted for all but 24 of your 316 yards of rushing. And again, I say it, 316 yards rushing against that Lutheran North defense that was supposed to be just as good, if not better, than what their offense was supposed to be, giving up 10, 11 points a game. And like I said, you guys went out and threw a 28 spot up on them by the end of quarter number 2. So you have Preston going 9 for 12. Now, a lot of times when you're watching other, say, college pro games and you see guys throwing the ball 30, 35 times, but 9 for 12. But the thing that stuck out to me, not so much was the accuracy, but he hit 6 different wide receivers out of that 9. That's usually something you might see somebody hitting maybe 2, 3 different receivers. But outside of Chase, who caught, I think, 4, I mean, he hit 5 other guys. And, yeah, so it was only 103 yards, but he still knocked out the 146 rushing. 18th in the area in passing yards and 6th in passing ratio. I mean, to me, that's pinpoint accuracy. And outside of the modest, I guess, stat numbers you saw against Festus and Pacific, you can make up for that at any given point, and either with the legs or allows Hillsborough to fight another day with his talent.
Yeah, it goes back to being balanced on offense, and I had that conversation with these guys 2 years ago, and and balance for us isn't the equal numbers of passing and rushing. It's what are they giving us, and if a team gives us a loaded box, then we're going to throw it more. We came out down at Poplar Bluff, and we were able to spread those guys out, and I want to say we had, Chase caught some balls, AJ caught some balls, and Dalton caught some. Cohen had a big touchdown pass. Peyton had a big touchdown pass in that game, all in the first half. I think we had close to 300 yards passing in the first half because that's what they gave us. And then, you turn around and you play another team, and if they're going to try to take that away and go straight man on us, and they're going to give us a lighter box, then if we can run for 300 or 400, then that's what we're going to do. And we've been fortunate to be able to do that. We've got the guys that we have confidence in that we can put a 5 wide set out there, or if not, if we need to go 3 backs back there with the wing between our wings and our split backs and stuff, and be able to run the ball, then we're confident in that. And it's just again, credit to the kids, because we ask a lot out of them, from different stuff formationally, and we have a core group of five or six formations we run, but then we tag a lot of stuff off of it. Just as any coach would tell you, a lot of window dressing stuff to get your guys and try to create mismatches and matchups. And we got a couple of those. Peyton's a big matchup nightmare when you get him out there out wide, because people just aren't as big as him and strong as him with DBs, and getting him on a one-on-one. And I think he caught a pass the other day, and then got it was a situation where we needed a completion, or we thought, hey, it's going to be hard to cover him. We might get a PI here, and that's what we got, was a pass interference. So anytime we can, try to spread the ball around, Preston does a good job. We do preach in practice, because there is only one football, and there's plays. I know we had a touchdown pass against Poplar Bluff earlier in the year, and there was 3 or 4 guys wide open, and we can only get one guy the ball, and I think it was on Cohen's long touchdown on that one. And it's just the way, if Preston sees that guy first and he gets it to him first, then the other guys do a great job getting each other open, and that's all you can really do.
We continue to talk a lot about just the dominance. Real quick here, Coach. I look at guys behind me here that have shown up. I mean, what is the buy-in? Where does that start at with your guys' program? Does it start as a freshman? Does it start as a 7th grader? Where does it start?
These guys you can ask all of them back there. They have opportunities. Junior high, we have a weight program in our junior high, and it really starts. In my opinion, it starts there when those guys start falling in love with the weight room, and when they start seeing their bodies change and understand the importance of not only lifting, but then going back and eating the right food after that, getting the right stuff in your system so that your body can grow and be as strong as possible. And then just providing these guys the opportunities. You mentioned earlier that at the end of the day, you got to give the credit to these guys, because we'll give them every opportunity, but they got to still show up and work. Yep. And I think every coach will tell you that. You want 100% buy-in from every single kid within your program. The reality, even I guarantee at the NFL level, not every guy's bought into that team, or at the college level. But these guys here, are your core group of your juniors and seniors who are left with you by the time they're juniors and seniors. Because, I think our senior group, there was probably 40 of you guys when you were 8th graders, freshmen, and you're down to 15. So that's that core that has stuck together and completely bought in and continued to work. And it's not a process. You don't get to the point where we're at because what they decided to do this summer. It's a decision that these guys made back 3 and 4 years ago to put themselves in this position to be able to play in this game. Yeah.
Hey, let's do this real quick because I want to transition, and I know we've got a lot we could continue to talk about, but we got to move on here a little bit here. Let's go through real quick here, guys, and I'll just throw this up here real quick. I'm going to buzz through the scores of this past week. Obviously, we're going to talk about you guys' game last, but anybody surprised at some of these scores here real quick? Class 1 semifinals look like this locally here. Marionville 38, St. Vincent 7. Class 2 Valley Catholic 51, Fairgrove 26. Class 3 Park Hill Central, they make it to state as well. 48-43 over Blair Oaks. That looked like that was a really good game. Jumping over our game real quick that we covered. Class 5 Cardinal Ritter 52, Cape Central 22. Class 6, the semifinals was CBC making it in 31-28 over DeSmet. And anything you guys want to talk about real quick on any of those games there?
I think the St. Vincent game was kind of surprised. Marionville hung up as many as they did on St. Vincent, that not many people have had their way with them this year. Wasn't real surprised about the Valley score. Mm-hmm. Haven't seen them 2 weeks ago against Lift for Life. Yep. The way they, Vioxx and Fowler, that's a 1-2 punch that you let your hair down against them, that they can put up a lot of points in a short amount of time. Right. Haven't seen the CBC team when they played Jackson. CBC, you know what? That's where you just kind of hold serve, and you're able to just again, I think as I said on the last show, whether you win the game 2-0 or whether you win the game 55-0, at the end of the day, you get that W, you move on,
Right.
and you look back, you assess what you did. I don't know if Coach can say the same thing, but to me, when the playoffs start, you win, you move on, you lose, you go home.
Right.
You look at what you can do, maybe improve on after the game and look at the tape. But, I think, some of those teams, none of them really surprised me a whole heck of a lot. But
Yeah.
I think maybe just the way St. Vincent got train wrecked.
Gotcha. Brian?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, not being able to see a lot of those teams live this year for me, just looking at like the stats, the storylines, and kind of following from that side, I'm in the same with you, Matt. Like nothing really stood out to me, like shocked me in that regard. Some of the scores did. Again, being with you on that Valley Catholic game against Live for Life, being able to see them live, it doesn't surprise me the scoring that went. They're very dynamic offense as well, and with Vioxx and, as you said, Fowler being able to throw the ball the way he does, I think a lot of defenses, especially at that class, at that district, are going to struggle to keep up with that just because they're able to spread the ball and move the ball, and he's quick enough to make some things happen with his feet. And so for me, I really just kind of looking forward to some of these state finals games like that to see, when they come against probably, I would say, a little bit more even matched of schools that they're going to be running into.
Yeah. Scotty?
No, not really. Once you get this deep into the playoffs, I think everyone's kind of established that they're, capable and they're talented. And coaching, as we saw, obviously, last weekend, you get the right coach, the right scheme, bolt the lightning, boom, there you are.
Yeah. And there's a reason why I brought these scores up. There's something that Coach, you said in an interview a couple weeks ago, I guess it was, so many years in a row and so many times you hear from outside of the county and outside the area that, football is just not a Jefferson County or St. Francis County or even, that kind of sport, and everything. And you said don't sleep on these guys anymore. I mean, you take a look at the schedules now. You see Park Hills. You see St. Vincent made a deep run. You see Valley Catholic. CBC. We know CBC is always in there, but Jefferson County teams, St. Francis County teams, St. Genevieve County teams, made it to state this year. So, I think there's that gap that used to be pretty wide has kind of gotten a lot closer, and I really appreciated you say that when you said that, because it has been. I mean, you take a look at the just the history right now. This is you guys' first playoff berth into the state championship ever. Herculaneum's only made it a couple times, and they didn't even win. So it's one of those things that it's been a long time coming, and I appreciated you kind of recognize that just not Hillsboro's making these deep runs. There's other teams locally here as well.
Yeah, you look at Cape Central. They've been in the semis the last 2 years, and we played them last 2 years, and so has Park Hill Central's played them. And I guarantee you, if you asked Corey, he'd tell you that. I know they were beat up at that. They had lost their quarterback, I think, in that game, but. Playing that team definitely has prepared those guys for the run that they've made.
Right, absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to throw a commercial up here real quick, and we're going to be back with our player of the week, and that is Chase Sucharski. We will be right back. This is Upon Further Review.
Ruther Ford is the place to shop for your next vehicle. We have a huge selection of new and pre-owned vehicles to choose from, and they're all to sell. Not in the for a new car, we have a great.
Don't take it off for too long.
Your car in top shape. Also, be sure to check out our parts department for your next car project. Once again, we're Ruther Ford off I-55, the Herculaneum Auto Mall.
Family pride is driven home. Ruther Ford, Ruther.com.
It is now time for our player of the week, and we're going to jump over here on the player of the week spot here. Chase Sucharski, how you doing, Chase?
Good, sir. How are you?
Hey, man, you got the first touchdown of the game in the game during the semifinals Saturday. That's why I gave you Player of the Week. We've already seen enough out of those Peyton Browns and Preston Brown guys. They've already been on here, but you have not. And there's a lot of unsung hero talk that we talk all the time, week in and week out. I think you made the honorable mention a couple times. And I was just like, he got that first touchdown, and you guys went on that run of 3 touchdowns right off the bat in the first quarter. And so that's why I gave you guys, especially the Player of the Week. So tell us a little bit about your season and this amazing run that's been going on with the Hillsborough Hawks.
I definitely think it was a thing that after the way our season ended last year, playing a St. Mary's team that would go on to win state, we all knew going into that game last year that, hey, whoever kind of wins this game is probably going to win the state championship.
Yep.
This is the game right here. And a couple weeks later, this group of senior guys, we had a conversation in the theater, and we just pretty much talked about everything we were going to have to do this off season, going into the next season, because we knew exactly what we wanted to accomplish as this group of guys. So obviously, it's kind of held true up to this point.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be more proud of those senior and junior guys for really stepping up and knowing that my dad said a couple weeks ago, people, all they wanted to talk about all offseason was how much we lost, but we didn't lose enough.
Right.
So these guys have definitely bought in. I bought in, and I think our season so far is just a recollection of that.
Absolutely, man. The amount of games that pile up. We were taking a look at this is week 15. You guys are getting ready to walk into 15 straight weeks of football. And you guys are kind of used to making that to about week 12, week 13. Has there been very much, I guess, recovery time extra recovery time that you guys have to take, or is the weight room helping you during these deep runs? That's the question.
Oh, absolutely. I know obviously we don't go deeper than 12 or 13 weeks, but this being the year that you do, it kind of changes everything because this is uncharted territory. So I know a lot of guys, including myself, you're beat up, you're kind of sore. So whether it's dialing it back in the weight room or it's turning it up in the recovery room,
right.
Everything kind of changes at this point. So you adjust the weights based on what you feel like you need to do. Really, at this point, it's kind of like, let's get yourself through the week and then be as close to 100% as you can on Fridays or Saturdays.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Matt, you got anything? Yeah, let me turn you on.
Don't want to jump the gun here too much, but just so you got the 11 a.m. start on Saturday. Now I know you had the afternoon game against Ritter. Probably helped a little bit maybe with the playoffs having that. Was that a help having that one afternoon start during the season?
Oh, absolutely. Dalton, he talked about it. It helps having those Saturday games because you adjust to it, and at that point you're kind of used to it in a sense. Ironically, too, you play a team like Cardinal Ritter, as good of a team as they are, so then going to play a team on Lutheran North the next Saturday, the next time you play, kind of the same thing. So definitely playing those games earlier in the season on a Saturday will certainly have you ready by the time playoffs get around because your routine changes. You have an extra day of practice, and then it's a game in the middle of the day rather than at night.
Because the one playoff game I was able to play in was a 1 o'clock kickoff, and it was just everything was out of whack because everything had been under the lights. Like everything was just different. The kickoff was like not in the lights. Everything was just different. Your whole routine. But what I was going to ask is now you've got like 11 a.m. start. So is there? And I don't speak for everybody else, but how does your routine change now, knowing that like you got an 11 a.m. kickoff and not something at 1 p.m. much less?
I think for me, kind of already telling myself this, by the time Saturday comes around, you're going to wake up early. But what I like about the 11 a.m. kickoff is it's the only thing, that I really need to focus on. It's kind of one of the first things that's going to happen throughout your day. You don't need to worry about all these other teams playing earlier in the day before you. So obviously you're that first game of the day. So being that first team to the stadium, you kind of have it all to yourself. So really gives you more time, I feel like, to focus and lock in on the task at hand.
Because like even on a Friday, you're probably still thinking about that test you probably could have done better on, something like that. Yeah, because I was just curious because I know a lot of you guys, I know I was routine oriented, and And now when you got something like an 11 o'clock, well, I just got used to playing the 1 o'clock games. Now you're going to throw like an 11 a.m. at me. That it's got to change a little bit. I mean, as broadcasters, we adjust. I mean, it's no problem for us. But I know as far as the players go, that has to be just a little different breed of cat.
Oh, it definitely is.
I'm looking at 266 yards on 11 catches, 5 TDs on the offensive side. And I'm looking at 21 tackles, 2 INTs, and a pick 6. I mean, that's just in like in the playoffs. To most people, that's already like a full season. I got to tell you, we had done a live stream STL. We had done an Oakville game, and I believe that might have been against the Seckman. And because Coach Woody and I, we were watching Max Bradley in warm-ups. And I got to tell you, watching your warm-up routine with some of the wide receivers he had, he kept going to his one wide receiver in warm-ups, and he kept catching this ball right here at his face mask. He'd go to bring it down to hit the turf. 5-6 times he did that. I looked at Coach, and I just said, hey, can you imagine, like, if the game's on the line, like a 4th and 5, they go to hit this wide out again. I said, this is the 5th time he's, like, put this thing on the turf. And he goes, I got to tell you. And I said, but who's your plan B? I don't know. And I'm watching you in pregame. This isn't like a quarterback throwing, like, 20-yard outs to you. You got a guy from me to you sitting there throwing you heat, and you're just like pop, 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 and not one of them hit the turf. That's what I was waiting for, just to see, is one of them going to hit the turf? 30 catches later, I'm like, ain't one of them hit the turf yet. And then you're like turning your back to the infield, and then you're just catching them over the shoulder, like just willy-nilly, easy peasy. That's kudos to you on your efforts to put in the time, the effort, the work. And I got to say, if that starts with Chase Money, it looks like the 5's like kind of like a dollar sign.
Yeah.
Is that like a little nickname? Is it Money, or is just the 5 looks like a dollar sign?
No, definitely no nickname, other than the fact that last year these guys called me Billy. It's my dad. But no, yeah, really just my number, and then I always say it kind of looks like an S too, so it kind of goes hand in hand.
Because I'd have to say the way the hands have been, I mean, you're kind of money when the ball's thrown to you.
Right. Credit to Preston. So
yeah, Brian, I'll let these guys fire off any other.
Yeah, so just talk to me a little bit about like the mental state. I mean, you guys have had a great season, right? You come into the playoffs. You know, Festus really kind of gives you a challenge a little bit. It comes down to a 1-point game. You guys pull it out. Obviously, then you go to Pacific. You jump on them, 21-0. They come back. You guys finish it off really strong. And then obviously just continue to march. And then this past Saturday have the big game. I think kind of that statement game for you guys really going into the finals saying, look, we've arrived. We've worked hard to be here. So just talk about what that's meant to you this year.
Oh, absolutely. I think this kind of all started after that loss to Cardinal Ritter, where it's like, okay, we've played a legit team now. We know what really, really good talent looks like. So you come out to Poplar Bluff, and then you beat them by 30 the next week. We throw for 300 yards and really took care of business. You have that bye week. You come play North County, take care of business. And Festus, great program. I mean, they played us tough, being down 21-0 in 6 minutes pretty much. But, we fought through adversity, battle back. You win that game. Yeah, you go into Pacific, you jump up on them 21-0. They're still a good team. They come back, tie up the score with you. Eventually it's 28-28. Like you said, you pull away, staying strong, and really just staying disciplined, playing borough football. And then last week, you're exactly right. It was a statement game, I think, for everybody that said, Lutheran North is this, Lutheran North is that. I saw somebody that came out and said this is the best Lutheran North team I've seen in years. And, they have athletes, and they had a dynamic defense and offense, but you go, you watch the film, you find their weak spots, you find the places that you can exploit them, and I think we did a perfect job of that last week. Offensively, I think we had like only 1 or 2 penalties at the most on the offense side of the ball, and then defensively, our line got great pressure at times, and then the secondary held up pretty well.
Absolutely. And so, just take a minute to talk about that a little bit. Like, you play both sides of the ball, do a tremendous job at that, along with, I know, a number of the guys on the team as well. You get up 28-0. It's kind of like you could feel the energy in the stadium. Like, we're in the booth, and we're just kind of like, this is different. Like, this is –
We looked at each other sometimes when we went.
Right. And so talk about what that means, like just having that backing and having that game at home.
It was definitely very surreal when it's the second ever Final Four game in Hillsborough football history. And I got to the school about 9 a.m., and at 9 a.m. you pull up and you see a freaking RV outside tailgating at 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's like, okay, wow, like, this is legit. Like, we're here to take care of business now. And, you know, I said, as a player standing in the middle of that field, you know, I've been to a lot of games, whether it be watching or playing in them, and you have games, there's a lot of people there, but it's like I've never seen that many people at Hillsborough to watch a football game. And so, I mean, the whole game, it was crazy. And then to be up 28-0 at halftime, like you said, it's like, okay, you got to come out and finish the second half, but hey, I think we can go to Columbia. Like,
Right.
You kind of just knew, you know, that feeling in the back of your mind. So definitely something where it's like, I'm never going to forget that game that sent us to state with that much support from the community and everybody else around us.
Absolutely, Scott.
Chase, what's up? So I actually had this question for Coach, but I think it's more appropriate to ask you. So at what point during this season did the idea concept kind of cement in your brain that this is a state champion caliber squad?
I honestly think for me, where I realized that, hey, we can do something special here was the second half we played against Cardinal Ritter, where we come out first drive and you score, and it's like, okay, great. But then it seems in a way you kind of get shell-shocked, and we kind of let some things slip away from us in the first half. You come out in the second half, and the way that we outscored them in the second half. And I just knew after that game, I was like, if we play this similar style of football that we played in the second half against them, I was like, I don't think there's anybody that's going to beat us, you know, all the way up to the state championship game. And, you know, clearly it's kind of held true. And, you know, outside of the game, you see the amount of work these guys put in, gaining strength in the weight room throughout the summer as teammates. And because of that, you see glimpses even just over the summer of, like, we can really do something special this year.
Very cool.
I think a lot of that, what you were bringing up, ties back to what Coach was talking about too, as far as just like scheduling in general. And I would probably like micromanage it down to just like strength of schedule. That when you're looking at beating Class 5 Poplar Bluff, Class 5 Cape Central, Class 6 Fort Zumwalt West, and yes, the loss was to Class 5 Cardinal Ritter. I mean, when you look up and down that list, I mean, in those four teams, that's a pretty dynamic group of football right there. And then much less when you look to see where a team like Cape Central's gone to. I mean, I'd have to say, like, if you had to put like a power ranking on your schedule, you know, looking at where Cape Central's at now and what they're vying for at Class 5, you know, this wasn't like powder puff teams where, no disrespect, but it wasn't like you had like your other games were like always like DeSoto wins or teams where it was just like, okay, let's beat up on these guys. You guys were strapping them up, buckling them up against some really big boy football programs. So to even not much less come up with the win, I mean, even coming from behind, coming back to win. I know there was a couple 35-28s in there where, you know what, you guys took a couple punches to the mouth, and I think that helped set you guys up to bode well once you got past your Windsors and your DeSotos, because it didn't allow you to take your guard down, not for a second, against those teams, to keep that weight belt on, if you will.
Definitely. And, you know, people will sometimes say it's good to play good teams later in the season, but I also think it helps when you play Cape Central and Fort Zumwalt West in weeks 2 and 3 early in the season, because it's like, okay, we're just not gonna make it easy and gradually get tougher. I think you hit a week 2 game against Cape Central where I think, you know, the score, we definitely made some big time mistakes in that game where it's like, okay, we got away with the win. What can we fix now against what, you know, obviously ends up being a really good Cape Central team? And what really was the thing for that game was you win 35-28, but week 3 was, you know, nothing easy. You turn around and play a Class 6 Fort Zumwalt West school that obviously is a very competitive program. So it's like, all right, now you got to prep for a team that's just as good with just as much loaded talent as they do have. So playing those teams early in the season is very good for those weeks, you know, 4 through 7 conference games, and then to be able to, you know, you get to Cardinal Ritter, but you've seen some similar talent already, so that will help you for those games too.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I would love to sit here and talk for another 2-3 hours about all this, but we got to continue to keep the show going here. And man, we appreciate you, Chase, being on here, being our final player of the week for week 14. So, you know, what I wanted to do at this point, take maybe 5-10 minutes or whatever, and we're going to just actually, I've got Drake over here to my left here. He's got a camera facing it was actually facing the wrong way, but now it's going to be facing the right way. There we go. We're going to get some, just maybe fire off some questions to these guys out here too, real quick. And we've actually got a microphone. I'm going to double check and make sure. Yeah, that microphone is working pretty good there, I think. There it is. Maybe. There it is. There it is. Okay, good deal. So I want to start with Scott real quick and put Scott on the hot seat here. Any of these guys, Peyton and Preston, I think, are here. There's other guys here, but whoever you want to call on here, just to fire off random questions, because you're the random guy. I know you are. So there you go.
What, me? Just because I'm kind of quirky that way, I'd kind of like to know who's like the joker of the bunch.
We want to know who's the joker of the bunch. All right, stand up. All right, give him the mic. Give him the mic. There he is.
Look at that smile. He's owning. Hold on. We broke it.
Okay, we're back on here. We've been having some issues with our power here, but yeah, go ahead. Ask him a jokester question here or something. Who knows, And who are we talking to here, real quick? Who is this?
That's Gavin.
Gavin
Height.
Gavin Height.
Number 82 caught a touchdown.
There you go. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gavin, what would it mean for you guys to win a state championship?
Everything. We've been since last season. We figured after we could win it. And I mean, this community wants it. We want it. So it means everything.
Absolutely. Very good. Good answer.
Best prank you've pulled this year so far.
Yeah. How about that?
Like,
You probably need to ask him what these guys remember most about their high school prank that got pulled last year that actually wasn't one of them.
Ask Dalton. Give the mic to
Wait a second.
That wasn't football. Oh yeah, this dude.
Go ahead and say it again. Go ahead and say that again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this dude decided to put someone's car on the field.
Practice field.
Practice.
Practice.
Wow. Now, I've done some crazy things in cars, but
Oh yeah, this dude so he stole this guy's keys and then took his car and put it on our practice field.
Oh my God.
He's like.
Well, like the cops showed up and stuff. It's like a dummy.
The janitors thought that someone was going to do donuts on the field, and that's why the cops were called.
Oh.
And it wasn't a big deal. No one pressed charges. It was just blown out of proportion because the janitors
Unbelievable.
thought
Just
someone was doing
blown
something
out of
wrong.
proportion.
Well,
I guess.
He got the car back. No damage.
Don't laugh too loud.
Yeah, we're shaking his ass too.
And his eyebrows.
Oh my goodness.
Now he asked for it, so I mean.
Okay. So we're back now. We're back now.
So real quick, but like you've never done anything like put like on like Peyton's like say passing gloves or anything and like walk around, parade around in those. I thought you were gonna say something like you've tied like their shoelaces together, but
No, I definitely got some. He doesn't know this. Was it earlier in the week? Maybe it was last week at practice. I took a lock in the locker room that wasn't his, threw it on his locker. Yeah, he was late to practice by about 15 minutes. So that was totally me, Peyton. Yeah.
We haven't chopped at all.
That's crazy.
I had like
Right,
5 other
so to
locks
bring
on my
everybody up
locker,
to
too, that
speed,
shouldn't have
they had to
been
cut the
there.
lock off before the power went out there.
It was a pretty good ordeal watching him come into TC's room. He's like, somebody put a lock on my locker. He's like, I don't know who did it, but I'm so mad.
All right. Any other questions here for some of the guys here? Kaplinger, you got anything for us here, Brian?
Yeah, this is, a question Scott and I keep Kevin in the booth. A couple of games we've been able to have. And so I'm going to target Preston and Peyton. And so, you're both electric. And I've just enjoyed watching you play the few games that I've been able to play. But I got to know, who's faster? I mean –
They're pointing at me, so I definitely think it's me.
He knows it's not true. I'm just hurt right now.
In the morning. Well,
In the morning, I don't know.
He's always been hurt, so I'm always going to be faster.
I'm always going to be faster. Right.
I mean, tell me what it's like playing beside each other. You both, like I said, and I think Matt brought it up, identical yardage this past Saturday, running the ball, both scoring a couple touchdowns. What's it like just playing together, and how much fun is it?
It's always fun for sure. We definitely love playing together, love the chemistry with everybody here. So it's definitely fun competing with each other in practice, and just definitely talking to him and getting in his head in practice. That's fun too.
Awesome.
I mean, he said it. It's fun to be in the backfield, knowing kind of like I can get on him more than anybody else, really, I guess, because he's my brother. So, I mean, he doesn't really take it to heart, I guess. It's a lot easier, and I could always go home and talk to him about it too, or yell at him, give him some crap.
What's the competition like at home? I know it's got to be there.
The competition, it's not really much between me and him. It's usually between the little one and us two. So, yeah, he usually stealing the food or something like that. One of the two.
That's good.
What would it mean for both of you guys to win a state championship?
It means a lot because it's his last season. It's going to be our last season playing together, so it's going to be definitely a lot to us.
Absolutely. Cool. Matt, you got anything?
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I would imagine, during the growing up process and into where you're at now that you guys can you develop kind of like this, like you could make a pass to him with your eyes blindfolded kind of relationship?
Not so much that, but it kind of seemed like it the other day. I kind of just tossed it up and he kind of ran under it during the Luther North game. So
oh yeah, the one he caught one-handed.
That one I didn't know it was one-handed. I wasn't away. I just threw it up there. And he kind of just went under and got it.
There we go.
We're back up. Sorry about that.
So yeah, but yeah, just to let you know, yeah, he caught that one-handed over everybody.
There you go.
I know he's kind of modest about that,
It's
but
kinda like,
but yeah, it was just another day at the office.
Yeah,
You know,
pretty much.
one-hander, 30 yards.
Or me on scout team, we always are running up with Silly Philly over here, we kind of just slice up the defense on scout team, so yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, he was talking pretty crazy today. Him and Phil both.
Okay. Any other guys you want to yell at? Other guys?
You know what?
Rolly-
I want to
Rolly
talk
gets
to
yelled at quite a
Duranja.
bit.
Let's get a lineman on here.
Max.
All right. All right. What's your question there,
Oh,
Matt?
I just want to know, Max. Were those guys as big as they looked?
No joke. I think two of my hands would equal the guy I was versing's one hand.
Right.
He was a pretty big boy.
Yeah, because I was talking to Coach and I said, I have not changed much since high school. And I said, when those two guys rolled out onto the field, I was like, we had a little pucker going on that
Yeah.
I definitely have been tapping my guard either on the left or the right and been like, hey, I'm going to need a little help on this because I think 75 ate like 5 turkeys before he got here. But what I was telling Coach was, I said to me, because I kind of had to play smart and be smart because I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the biggest. So what's my advantage? And I was telling him, your first step probably had to be your best step, right? Because that would allow you just at least to get once you could just get an angle, get a turn on them. That was the key to the whole thing because they, as big as they were, they didn't look like as fast as they should be.
Number 74 actually surprised me. His hands were a lot faster than I expected, and he was actually a better matchup than I expected. And he was a super nice kid. I talked to him after the game. He surprised me a lot. It was fun to verse him.
I mean, outside of size-wise, but was that probably one or two better linemen you went?
I would say him and
because I hadn't seen anybody from Cardinal Ritter other than seeing what you see on paper. But
yeah.
But I mean, that would be the obvious next choice would be somebody from Cardinal Ritter. But was there somebody like off the grid that kind of just surprised you?
You know who surprised me was it's a junior from North County, 64 I think his name was Xavier. He surprised me a lot
because he was shorter, quicker,
he
fast.
was a little more of an aggressive guy, and really he stood out to me.
Those are the ones that give us fits, right?
Yeah.
You could bring in the big 6'8", 390 dopey guy, but don't give me somebody 5'10" that's like 215 and like zipping back and forth. I got it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, well done, man.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Any other questions, guys?
Prosecution rests.
Right. The prosecution rests. Well, hey, guys, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate that, and we'll take that back. I'll take that right here.
Hey, Ray, you know what? Maybe could you just pass the mic around, have everybody just introduce themselves?
Let's do that real quick, real fast. Just first name real quick. We'll start right there.
Well, or first and last,
go ahead.
Because
real
people
quick.
tuning in may not know.
Real quick. Go ahead.
I'm Aiden Rowan.
Okay.
I'm a linebacker and fullback.
Great. Quick.
Colt Romaine, outside linebacker.
Barrett Silhavy, left tackle.
Max Duranja, center.
Micah Bacher, right tackle.
Cody Shaw, running back.
I'm Carter Stevenson. I'm a receiver.
Caleb Herring, guard.
Wyatt Phillips, right guard.
Mason Boyer, D lineman.
Landon Smith, left guard.
Keaton Pipkins, receiver.
I'm Ian Phillips, Scout Team Demon.
Scout Team Demon, I love it.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm AJ Heisel. I play corner.
Gavin Height, tight end and defensive end.
Cole Lossman, O-line.
And Dalton Ross, wide receiver and safety.
Colin Klaus, corner.
Anthony Carl, right tackle. Aiden Pettit, defensive lineman.
AKA Flo.
Yep.
Nice flow back there.
Zach Nelson, nose tackle.
Hold on.
Yeah, you power out.
You broke it. Hold on.
Preston Brown, QB1.
There you go.
Peyton Brown, running back, linebacker.
White boy Carl, running back.
White boy Carl. Nice. Hey, and don't forget those folks in the very, very back there. Coach Sucharski's wife, Sarah, back there, and all the different folks back there as well. Sarah's been so instrumental in helping us,
Yes.
Helping us get back out at Hillsborough. How about that?
Yes.
How about that?
Thank you guys for your coverage and the support.
We appreciate that.
These are a special group of boys that really are just of high character and super funny. I've known many of them since they were little, so thanks for highlighting them tonight.
Absolutely. All
Glad to do it.
All right. Well,
Ray, do we need to talk about the game at 11 a.m. on
Let's
Saturday?
talk about real quick.
Okay.
Real quick.
Because, it's like a state championship game.
It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock.
I get it.
I wanted to get done by 9. We'll be 9:05. Okay, here we go. Real quick.
For the kids.
Here's the championship matchup for the kids. Class 1 is Marionville, North Platte. Class 2 is Valley Catholic against Lamar. Class 3 is Park Hill Central against Seneca, who us being ex-Herky guys, that's who they played the last time.
95.
Yeah, 95. Hillsborough and Kearney taking on each other in Class 4. Cardinal Ritter and Republic, Class 5. CBC and Liberty North, Class 6. And that is our matchups. And how do we want to elaborate on that?
I was just going to say, Kearney averages, a 42-10 score.
Mm-hmm.
It's their sixth trip to state since they had back-to-backs 15-16. I can roll all that stuff out to you, Coach, but at the end of the day, I'm sure you've either probably seen, heard enough of that without giving too much game planning away, because really all you tell me is that you see enough film to try to what makes the other team uncomfortable. Is that just the same still wash, rinse, repeat MO going into this one?
Yeah, and you have to be. I tell these guys, you always have to be aware when we're at this point. It's no one's playing for next week. No one's hiding anything. No one's gonna they're a team we've already seen on film. They if you want to say love to trick you, they run reverses, they run halfback passes, they'll do them multiple times in games. They got a handful of tricky plays that they like to bring out in every single game. So with regards to that, those kids have seen it this week in practice. So they're a very well coached football team. They have that tradition. They've been there and everything and done that. But it's like someone said something the other day. I said, well, the bottom line is for any program to get started, they got to win their first one. So Kearney was years ago. They were a team that didn't have a state championship, and they had to win their first one. And so that's for any program that's never won one. You got to get there first and foremost, and then you want to put your best foot forward. And that's the big message we sent to these guys is, we're absolutely really proud of them, and we expect to be in the ball game and compete in it. But we wanted these guys to be locked in all week and focused, because at the end of the day, win or lose, as long as we know we prepared as best and as hard as we could and we're locked in and focused, you can keep your head high whether the outcome doesn't go in your favor. So that's what we've asked these guys just in every game, really, is give us their best effort, and that's the thing. We told these guys last Saturday, if you play with your best effort, we think you'll practice on Monday, and that's what our kids did. And I'm never going to sell these guys short. They've always given us their best effort, and they play really hard, and they play for each other, and they play with a lot of love for one another. And that's the key to a championship team is going out there and playing for each other.
I think to piggyback on what Ray had asked earlier about what's the buy-in for the team, I would be suffice to say you throw a state championship like right up there on the wall. I don't care what grade level you're in. You pass that, you're going to want to get some time to see if you qualify to put the pads on for the program.
Yeah, it goes. It's special for our community. It was awesome to have a home game. It seems like for a lot of years, going back when I was assistant, we always end up on the road and everything. And to get that far and then get that quarterfinal win to get us back home, for a semifinal game and to see all the alumni and see the guys from '91 show up and I was a kid in the stands up at Gateway Tech when we played Sumner. So just to see the community, the community support, and these are memories these guys will always have. And I was just really happy for these guys to get to experience that and see that, because it's not something you should ever take for granted. It's 32 years. And it's a memory these guys will have forever.
I agree, Coach. It's been an honor and a privilege to be able to get back, to be able to cover you guys once again. And I'll let Brian and Scott finish up with anything they have to say, because Ray knows that time is short and precious.
Yeah, one thing I would just say, congratulations. I mean, you guys have earned it. You've worked really, really hard, not only on the coaching staff, players. This is something special. And so my encouragement to you as you go out, give it all you got. I know you're hearing that from the coach, but enjoy the moment too. Live in this moment, have fun with it, enjoy it, because there's nothing quite like it.
Absolutely. Coach, finally, I tell Brian every week, you don't get this far without having dedication. You don't have coaching, players with heart, and your squad has all of that.
Yeah, that Festus game displayed to me what these guys mean to each other, and that's something you can be proud of as a coach. That hopefully you leave that in their minds when they go on in life. That hey, when the chips are down, stick together and fight through it. And we've got a kid who got hurt his knee. One of the kid who's played a lot for us. Week 2, he hurt his knee, Landon Lambert, and I had a conversation with Landon because he was excited that we won on Saturday, but you could see the disappointment in his face not being in pads with these guys. And for the most part, I mean, all our starters will have all those guys who contribute a lot. We'll suit up on Saturday, and he'll be one of them that would have contributed a lot had he not got hurt week 2, because he was playing a ton for us up to that point. So to see that disappointment on his face, it hurts, because he wants to be there for these guys. And that's just something that I hope these guys understand, that how much each of them mean to each other. And that's a season like this, it's a lifelong memory that they'll have, and they'll be able to look back and talk and be proud of what they did and what they accomplished.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, thanks so much for being with us, and we appreciate you coming out. And I'm just going to say this right now. I made the bold prediction 2 weeks ago. Whoever won that game between you guys and Luther North is going to win the state championship, and I still stick to it. So good luck to you guys, and it's not like I got a bunch of money on this game or anything, but we really are pulling for you guys, and hoping that you guys pull this one out there for Jefferson County, but for the area here as well. So.
Defend the nest.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, thanks so much for being with us, guys. Guys, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you guys.
Yep. All right. We're gonna.
And I went out. Hold on. Music's coming back.
We're back. We're back and we're getting out of here, guys. We're having some crazy audio issues. Thanks so much for being with us, for watching. Upon further review, the state-bound edition here. Go Hawks. We'll hope to see and hear about a championship win next week. Have a great evening. Thanks for watching today's broadcast. The unauthorized use of this broadcast without the express consent of Livestream STL is strictly prohibited.